You're listening to Dr. Emma and Me on the Tudors Dynasty and Beyond podcast. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I'm Rebecca Larson and it's Thursday, so that means it's time for Dr. Emma and Me. Welcome, Emma.
Can I sing this song every time? Guess who's back? Back again.
By the way, we worked on getting a theme song. And I think I'm starting to lean toward the fact that I need to purchase this theme song because I think it was awesome. And
it was a good song. Yeah. Even though, you know, Eminem could come on the show and sing for us too and be like the person who does the theme song. Eminem, please, if you listen to the podcast, I'm sure you do. Guess who's back, baby? Come on, call us. Come to the show. You can sing. You can talk about the Tudors or parallel lives, whatever you want.
I love your optimism. You're like, we should get Eminem. Oh, yeah, okay.
What else has he got to do? The dude is set for life.
You guys, when Dr. Emma is back, nothing is outside our reach.
Yeah. Okay.
I love her attitude. I love that she thinks the world of both of us. So
yes. I'm sure Eminem listens to this podcast. I mean, I don't have the slightest doubt, guys.
Okay. All right. So we got Eminem and we have Cher listening.
Cher, you know, she listens to it too. She's just probably is like waiting for the season finale to contact us to make it like really exciting.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we don't really have seasons. So
you know who listens to this too?
Who?
Henry Cavill's lawyer. Who is who is like, one more time, I swear. One more time.
One more time. I wasn't expecting
one foot out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. We'll be serious today in our own serious.
Oh, yes.
Sure. Well, I feel like, you know, we've been doing Dr. Emma and Me now since, I'm going to say the date, since June 5th. That's our anniversary date.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. And we did tons of parallel live.
Well, we've already been 6 months together.
I know. Isn't that crazy? I can't believe you've stuck around this long.
I know. I can't believe you stuck around this long.
But we started out really focusing on parallel lives. Yes. And then we kind of shifted a little bit and mixed in historical Tinder because why not? Let's make it fun.
Yeah.
And now today we are back.
And then I tried to turn it into historical grinder last week, but Rebecca wouldn't allow it.
That's right. I was like, no, we're not going there.
I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
It's Dr. Emma and me.
Oh my God.
I'll talk about it whatever I want.
Oh my gosh. So you guys see what I have to put up with, right? She's like, my name comes first.
No, I'm just saying it's a 50-50 thing. You talk, I talk, I put up whatever I want.
Yeah.
It's the same.
I feel like I have to take this opportunity to promote our new merch that is available. I launched the merch last week and people are absolutely loving it. It's all about historical nicknames that we use on the show. And I guess I just realized people have been using these nicknames, especially when we do like live Q&As and stuff. It seems like people keep bringing up the Tool or Crybaby. And I thought, okay, it's time.
Crybaby is one of the best.
It is.
Because everybody knows it. The Tool is pretty good. You know, everybody knows the Tool. We did talk a lot about the Tool's historical Tinder and Grinder last week. So that was amazing. So who else? Hansi Henry. I think that's so tell us what's the merch about? Because I'm super excited. I saw it the other day and I'm like, ooh, I want it all.
Yeah, it's just an image of these people. So there's Hansi Henry the Tool, who's Henry VIII, and then we have Fun Guy, Henry Guilford, who likes to throw
one of the longest nicknames.
That was probably the first one, right?
Yeah, Fun Guy.
And then we have Crybaby.
Crybaby might have been the first one.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Then we have Crybaby Philip.
We need to say who's who. I think now because we're making it very, very difficult to follow. So Hansi Henry is Henry VII.
Yes.
Henry the Tool is Henry VIII.
Yes.
We have the Tudors, and then we have Fun Guy, who's the master of revels, Henry Guilford.
Yes. And then we have Crybaby, who
Crybaby.
is Juana's husband, Philip.
Yes. Philip the Fair. Don't call him that.
Yeah.
Call him Philip of Habsburg.
Call him
Who
Philip the
is Charles
Crybaby.
V's father and the guy poisoned by Fernando of Aragon in Burgos.
That's right. That's
But
right.
before that, he had a very, very intense encounter with some weeping in a boat because he thought he was going to drown. Because, in that trajectory going from Flanders, trying to get to Spain, because the waters were, it's the English Channel for you.
Yeah.
And they almost died. And that's when he started crying like a little baby. And that's why we call him Crybaby
That's
instead of
right.
Philip the Fair.
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
his portraits. He's not that handsome.
He's not. No. And then lastly, we have the most recent one, which was the cleaner, who is Cardinal
Oh,
Wolsey, because it was his job to clean
yes.
up after Henry VIII.
Yes.
But there
That
is
makes
another
sense.
one I was thinking about that I noticed that you use
The
quite
French's
often.
French of Frencheville.
No, no, no,
Francis
no.
the First. We still needed to find a name for Francis.
Yeah,
Until then, I'm going to call him the French's French there ever was.
I just want to call him Mr. Syphilis. That's what I want to
Oh
call
my
him.
goodness, Rebecca.
That's what's in my mind.
Keep
Anyway,
it a bit cleaner than that. Thank you.
Mr. Sexually Transmitted Disease or whatever they call it now.
She doesn't want to talk about Grinder, yet she brings up syphilis. And the next, Henry almost probably
Oh,
had
here we
syphilis
go.
too, Henry
Okay,
VIII.
you guys, if you're listening, I'm sorry. We will get to the topic. We just are just a little off
We're
topic.
not experts on syphilis, sorry.
No, we're not. But I did want to mention that you talk a lot about Fernando being cheapskate. That's another one.
Cheapskate, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Cheapskate Fernando, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Agarrao in Spanish, agarrao. It means he's not going to give you his money unless you can take it from him.
say that again. Arrão.
Agarrao. Agarrao. This is a Spanish podcast now.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it. Okay.
Fernando
Anyway,
Aragon el agarrao.
I love it. I love the nicknames. We have fun with it. So if you're interested in checking it out, we have like sweatshirts and t-shirts and tote bags
Yeah.
and mugs and stickers
Yeah.
and
Who
it's all
wants to
available.
hear about Bloody Mary anymore? No, thank you. It's
No.
about Hansi Henry. It's about the tool. It's about a crybaby. And we'll find one that is not Mr. Syphilis, because it would be Senor Syphilis.
Yeah, okay. We'll come up with one. So anyway, today, back to the show.
Back to the show.
10 minutes later. Sorry, guys. Back to
10
the show.
minutes later, and lots of very inappropriate things later. Yes.
Today we're doing a parallel lives again.
What's that? Can you bring us to speed with that wonderful idea your co-host had once?
I know. My brilliant co-host came up with this idea. Well, it really wasn't her idea. It was really somebody else's. Now I don't remember what is Plutarch. That's right. I was like, what was his name again?
Plutarch.
Dr. Emma.
Yes.
This was all your idea.
Not being Plutarch. It's Dr. Emma I could be a copycat. That could be mine because, I'm not inventing anything. I'm just rearranging things. So Parallel Lives is just a copy from a very famous book from antiquity, from a very famous guy from antiquity called Plutarch, comparing the lives of very famous people, for example, Alexander the Great and Julius Caesar, things like that, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we do in Parallel Lives. I mean, historical Tinder. No, I know where I copied that from, right? So This is not just copies. This is our interpretation of things, just like the time that we talk about, because the Tudors live in the Renaissance, and the Renaissance is a time to recapture those stories about antiquity and bring them back to life. And in that sense, today's Parallel Lives talks about that. We talk about two women that are extremely important for the Renaissance.
Yeah.
But they're not queens.
No. And I feel like one of these women, people have asked us to talk about on the show quite a bit.
Dr. Emma.
Yeah, yes, and other people. And it's just a topic that I am not as confident in. And so that's why probably if I stay away from topics, you guys, it's usually because I'm not confident in them and I'm worried that I'm not going to do a good job. That's just my insecurities. But I have Dr. Emma here to hold my hand today.
I'm the other way around. The less I know, the more I dive in, like whatever. I'm just gonna talk about. No, these are two figures I know well.
Yes,
As my undergrad studies, I studied history. The first one, you want to introduce them? I can do it.
you can do it.
Okay. We're going to talk about Christine de Pizan. It's the name in French because she is born in Venice, but raised, she moves to France when she's about 8 years old. So she grows up really in France and she becomes a French writer. So we're going to use all the names in French there. I was
Oh,
brushing up my French yesterday, thinking about Francis the First. No, not
Mr.
really.
Syphilis.
Uh, so Christine de Pisan. Pisan is a place in Italy, so we see the connection between the two places, and that's how we'll talk about why Italy is important in this case, and then we're going to talk about Beatriz Galindo, la Latina, the Latinist, the instructor, teacher of Isabel I of Castile and her daughters, the Latin
Yes.
instructor. Imagine having a Latin instructor who is a young girl, really a young teenager who can talk in a dead language. I mean, that must have been pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to learn about these two women and how their lives. I
Amazing
mean,
women.
I did some surface scratching research on this to see where there would be some parallels. And really, I want you to talk about them today because I think this is going to be a fascinating. This is one of those episodes where I sit back and just kind of listen and learn.
Well, in the case of, let's start with Christine, so chronologically, that's why I chose Christine first, right? Well, first of all, like you said, people have asked a lot about Christine de Pizan. And Dr. Emma apparently, because you keep bringing it up. So that's what I was referring to before. But in the case of Christine de Pizan, she's very famous. You know, she's one of these very famous women because she's always mentioned as a feminist. And I'm using this word with all its intention. A feminist from the 14th century. So probably she's considered the first feminist in many ways and respects. And why do we say she's a feminist?
Yeah.
Well, just to give you the dates, she was born in 1364. She died in 1430. So she lived a long life, like Beatriz Galindo, who lived 70 years. So they both have a long life. That's something important for someone who's going to become famous for in their own right when they're not queens, right? These
Yeah.
are courtiers, right? They're both courtiers. So they're both come from families attached to culture and attached to royal service. In the case of Cristina Pizan, she is born in Venice in 1368, and her family origins are in the southeast of Bologna in Italy, in Pisano. So Christine de Pizan, Christine de Pisano. Her
Okay.
father was Tommaso de Pisano, so Thomas from Pisa or Pisano, not Pisa, Pisano, because Pisa is another place, right? Who was a physician and astrologer.
Oh,
Astrologer, yeah. And and this is where we start to see where the connections with the Renaissance are. The King of France, Charles V, invited him, someone from Venice, to become his advisor. We start to see that Italy is producing this culture called the Renaissance, or the humanist culture. They're similar in the sense when we talk about the written word, but not just the written word. These are astrologers and humanists, are people who study a bit of everything. When we say astrologer, he's interpreting ancient texts. He's doing a lot of things. He's not one of these TV astrologers that just have a ball. Okay, these are very serious people at the time. So this is her father. And when Christine is just 7 years old, she goes and lives in Paris. And that's where she's raised. So she's Italian born, but French, and becomes a very, very French woman. She constructs a lot of French history in that time. She's a chronicle. She writes a chronicle of the life of Charles V.
Wow.
She does all of this, and listen to this, after she marries one of the secretaries of the king, but he dies and she has to provide for her children. And this is when she decides to become a court writer. And she starts writing love sonnets. So she writes poetry, chronicles, but also writes political treatises, some of which are the most important in the medieval times for women, because her most famous work, I just had to write everything down because it's, a lot of information.
Yeah.
See? But her most famous work that she writes when she's already a widow in 1405, it's in French is Le Livre de la Cité des Dames, or in English, The Book of the City of Ladies. This is her most famous book. And then she has another second part of that called Le Livre de Trois Vertus, or The Treasury of the City of Ladies. So this is a book where she presents a lot of the women from the past that have been important politically to defend the fact that the wife of Charles V has to act as regent when he is a bit cuckoo and not able to rule. So she draws from history and from ancient history. So she's a humanist to talk about these women from the past, to say, our queen is just doing what other important women have done.
Yeah.
And women are allowed to rule when it's necessary.
She's well educated. She comes from a good family. She is well educated, and that's why she's able to do these things.
And she, first of all, has a tool, which is her education. So she becomes a writer, not just a writer, but a poet. So she knows how to write about epic. She writes a chronicle. She writes poetry. That's linked to high culture. That's not, she writes narrative. She writes all types of things. So she's very accomplished in the French language. That she must have learned starting at 8 years old. I think being bilingual too, having that life experience, and also seeing her father be this important advisor to Charles V. Then she takes on that role. Your father has to empower you. For you to, there's other women that are children of these important men, never come to anything. Right. The dad has to have a will, but for you to do this, he has to allow things that other parents don't allow their children to do.
He's like Thomas More.
He's like a Thomas More. He's like a Gerard Hornboot.
Yeah.
He's like a Fernando of Aragon. But he's not like a Henry VIII, because Henry VIII didn't do that tool. That cruel, cruel tool. Don't forget about the merch. Love it.
We'll keep referencing it.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna love it so much.
Yeah, so we've established she was highly intelligent.
Highly intelligent, cultivated, close to power, not a queen. So what does she use? Her wits, her intelligence, and her word. She's a very, very good writer to become successful when she's a widow, because there's no other way that she can sustain her family.
Right.
Let's go to Beatriz Galindo, who has a parallel life like you don't even know with this woman. Beatriz Galindo, known as the Latinist in Spain, La Latina. Why? This is the chronicles of the time say this about her. Say that she was so good at speaking Latin that Isabel of Castile brought her to court to teach her and her children Latin.
Wow.
But she was 15 years younger we don't know exactly when she was born, around 1464, 65, but she was much younger than the queen. So she was between the ages of the queen and her children to be a role model too.
Yeah.
Who was La Latina? La Latina had been born her origins are in Zamora, which is northern Spain, not very northern, but not as northern as me. I am from Santander, but definitely northern Spain. From a family of, and in Spain, like the Thomas Moores and these people who are the gentry, but the lower ranks are called hidalgos. Hidalgos. So she's from a family of hidalgos. which means they're noble, but they have to work. Like the Thomas Moores, right?
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
exactly not from a family like that, right? She is said to become a nun. And in this case, Cristina Pizan is also very close to becoming a nun too. And her daughter becomes a nun. So this is the way women got educated within the
Yeah.
church. It makes sense, right? You don't
Yeah.
even know. We shouldn't do a parallel lives of the important abbesses in this time.
Yes.
These women had power, real power.
Yeah, I think I've
Uh,
learned a lot about women in education when I talked to Gemma Holman about her book on medieval women and mystics and nuns and all, and
yes,
how
yes.
really these nuns were some of the most educated women in the country. So,
And the illuminators of manuscripts in medieval times, the women are nuns,
yeah.
the Hildegard, another like that. So nuns were the elite in when it comes to the education. And then in the humanist time, in the 16th century, in the Spanish monarchy, there's royal women that start convents, and we're going to talk about La Latina doing this, even though they are lay women, they act like nuns. Just like Catherine of Aragon, who was part of the lay branch of the Franciscan order, like her mother,
Yeah.
Isabel of Cahill. So they're lay people that act very nunly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
La Latina is definitely one of those. That's a very Spanish trait. She's so good that they decide she's too good to become a nun. She's that good at the use of Latin. So they allow her to study at the University of Salamanca, which is the oldest university in Spain. She's not allowed to go to class with the boys, but they find her a tutor, and she studies grammar and Latin there.
Wow.
Likely under Antonio de Nebrija. Antonio de Nebrija was one of the most Spanish guys in the world who wrote the first Spanish grammar book ever, a humanist, published many works, translated many works from Latin into Spanish. And in 1492, Isabel and Fernando's Annus Mirabilis, when they achieved everything, the first Spanish grammar book is published, and Nebrija is the editor, and he dedicates it to Isabel.
Mm.
So Nebrija is probably teaching Beatriz to become this tutor that she is later in the court of Isabel, because she ends up at the court of Isabel being a lady in waiting.
This is quite amazing that these women held
Yeah,
so much power in their time.
exactly.
I mean,
Well, in the case of Beatriz, in 1491, so 1 year before this happened, she marries Francisco Ramirez, Spanish through and through, right? From Madrid.
yes.
Francisco Ramirez de Madrid. You can't be more Spanish than that.
I love it.
But he dies as well.
Oh,
He dies, and he had been married before and had children. So Queen Isabel decides to favor La Latina's children over the other marriage when he dies. And she comes to money, and she decided to start her own patronage of the art Latina, and she founds several convents in Madrid. And that's why, yes, the hospital, that was also a very Catholic woman thing to do. Mary the First also constructs a hospital of Savoy in London. So creating hospitals is definitely something very, very Catholic in that time for a woman. So she founded the Hospital of Santa Cruz in Madrid in 1506. And she also founded the convent where, next to the Plaza de Cebada, so the Plaza of Cebada, that it now gives the name, that whole area of Madrid is named La Latina neighborhood because of her, because of this convent that she founded in the Plaza de Cebada.
That's quite amazing. So she was very influential in Spanish history.
Imagine a whole neighborhood in the capital city devoted to her.
A woman.
Because
That's amazing.
to her nickname. So, but everybody knows who La Latina is.
Yeah.
But listen to this. It's become one of the quaintest, most coolest neighborhoods in Madrid. So everybody loves La Latina because it's a place to go. In Spain, at the weekends, how people like to go out and have a little snacky before lunch and a little drinky before lunch, aperitivo. You go to La Latina. That's a place to go.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. And there's streets and streets full of people enjoying outside, a little nibble and a little drink before lunch, before or 1 or 25, depends on the day. And sometimes you just have your food there because, as you know, one of the most famous Spanish ways of eating is just sharing with friends, what we call tapas. So Latina is all about that. So in order to do this research right, I think we should go there at some point just to honor Beatriz Galindo and
yeah.
her legacy.
I feel like you've taught me so much already about Spanish culture. That time I came to see you and we went out to eat with your girlfriend and
Oh
you
yes.
explained to me Spanish culture about how you just order all this food and everybody shares and then you share the bill at the end. Like I remember being like, wow, this is really different than what I grew up in, but it sounds fun.
What did you think of it? We went to it's a place here in Minneapolis called Barcelona,
Yeah,
and it's a
Barcelona.
Barcelona, and it's a chain, but it's a quite. I mean, this is for me as a Spaniard. This is the thing. You always have to order croquetas. If they have croquetas and the croquetas are decent, you will go back.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
only give places one shot with the croquetas, so
And they were really good, if I remember correctly.
they were very decent croquetas. I'm gonna say. Now
Decent.
this place needs to give us a free dinner or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll call them tonight and be like, hey,
They
by the
should
way,
ask them if they want to sponsor the show.
they do have a very large, good wine list. Sometimes it's not about ordering a bottle, it's about trying a few with what goes best with what you're ordering. And I think what tapas allows you to do is to talk about food that you're sharing. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you're both trying the same thing at the same time. And having a bit of everything too, which is and there's a lot of bar hopping with this. So the Latina is a place that has a whole several streets where you bar hop in this. So you just have maybe one tap on each place and one drink. But
Oh.
imagine you visited 8 or 9 places at the end of it. You know
Uh,
where I'm going to, right?
I do. This is where I always know that I cannot keep up with Dr. Emma.
Or any Spaniard for that.
Yeah, no, I think you wanted to keep going out that night too, and I was like, I'm tired and I have a headache. Can we go home?
And I was like, karaoke, what?
I know. I'm the old lady here. I'm
No,
always
no,
like, can we just
it's
go
the
home?
stamina of many times doing the same thing. It's
Yeah.
it's the way we live. Not everyone in Spain is like that, but I definitely have partake in that culture. It's exciting. When I go to Madrid is one of my favorite things. We also have, I think you love this, also markets in the center of the city dedicated to these tapas. So you can sit with your friend, you can enjoy whatever you want, and you can just get a tapa for one place, but it's all in one big marketplace. There's some places like that in the US. It's just very cool that this is the culture of the city of Madrid, really. It's very cool.
Yeah, it sounds so exciting. Like I
It's very
just
cool to go to, you can go in the morning to the Prado Museum for whatever reason you just want to talk to Mary the First of England. You're like,
yeah.
hey, Mary, do
Or
you know
maybe
about Tina Pizan? Of course you knew,
that's right.
because you
Or
own several of her books, her manuscripts. That's true, by the way.
that's interesting.
You know about Beatriz Galindo? Of course you know about Beatriz Galindo, because your mother never shut up about her. And that's why she creates that same atmosphere, not herself, but just her,
Yeah.
with people like Thomas More. Because what do you think? They're not all talking about how to raise those girls to be the smartest. I mean, Mary the First has the most similar education to the daughters of Thomas More than anyone else in the court. Why? Because they probably learned together.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
What is true that changes in case of Mary from Beatriz Galindo. So listen to this. Beatriz Galindo arrives because Isabel doesn't speak Latin. She hasn't been raised to speak. She's been raised bilingual because her mother was Portuguese. So she
Okay.
knew Portuguese and Castilian Spanish by the time she became queen. That's an advantage. But she didn't know what she wanted to know, which was Latin, because that gave her an edge with who? diplomats, ambassadors, right? And the Pope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though the Spanish monarchs always wrote in Spanish. And Henry VIII complains about this. He's like, we don't have a person who reads Spanish. And they're like, well, tough. They write to him in Spanish. Lo siento.
Figure it out.
Lo siento mucho.
Ooh.
So who do you think read the letters when Ambassadress Kateryn was ambassadress? She probably would read them aloud, translating them in the second to Henry VII, probably to French, because that's the closest language.
Yeah.
Right, from Spanish. Who knows? Probably in Spanglish. Who knows? The message came across, I'm sure, because Henry VII doesn't complain when Catherine is ambassadress about that anymore.
Why would he? She's helping him out immensely in that respect.
Like, hola, Enrique. I'm here. What do you need today?
And he's like, I need to marry you. And she's like, let me talk to my mom.
Your son is still warm.
All right. Handsy Henry.
Handsy Henry. Anyway, back to Beatriz Galindo. So this is how cool she is, that she has a whole neighborhood. But when we hear about her, she's very, very close to Isabel. They say she's consejera, so advisor. So she's the Wolsey of Isabel of Castile.
Wow.
But we haven't studied these women like that. Catherine of Lancaster, who's another extremely important woman that we've talked about, but not enough, also has one of these female advisors. So women who like to be advised by women. Oh, surprise, surprise.
Yeah, yeah.
In the 15th century, when you're a powerful woman, you don't want to be advised by men. Why? Because they all want to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even your own husband sometimes is like, nah, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even though they held power, the men really held the power. So the women had to hold on to it even harder.
Exactly. And in the case of Mary I of England, she also had women that would advise her, too.
Ooh.
Allegedly, one of them, Jane Dormer, is in a portrait now in the Prado Museum, but I don't think that's Jane.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about this whole thing. Yeah, because we
forgot about that portrait. I have dreams about that portrait of Elizabeth I.
It's always been seen as Jane Dormer. And when I think of Jane Dormer, that's who I see. But you think it's Elizabeth I?
I think it's Princess Elizabeth, or Lady Elizabeth, more likely called at that time.
Yeah.
The sister of the Queen.
Do you remember who painted that?
Antonis Moore.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Who else?
Okay. Yeah.
My favorite portrait painter.
Which for them would make sense that he would paint both Mary and her sister.
Well, I think that portrait and several other portraits were part of the fine gallery that the French ambassador tells us that Mary has, where she had a picture of Elizabeth that she took down when the White Rebellion came to be. And when she pardoned her and released Elizabeth on the 19th of May.
Yeah, of all days.
This is a great day. Let's release her. Tell her to come here and pledge allegiance to the only queen. I love Mary I. She's a powerful queen.
Yeah. Okay. And for those who don't know, in case you don't know Anne Boleyn's story, the 19th of May was the day that Anne Boleyn, Elizabeth I's mother, was executed. So it is.
Was it?
Stop it. I'm just trying to fill in blanks in case people don't know.
Well, let's go back to 1536 and say the 19th of May was the day that Queen Anne Boleyn was beheaded.
Yeah.
Was she a queen? I think at that point she was, okay? Because the real queen had died.
Yeah.
When?
In January.
7th of January. How? Poisoned by the royal couple.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that's what the doctor said. So I'm going to go with what the doctor said. Okay. The medical doctor, not Dr. Emma. The medical doctor that saw the corpse of Catherine of Aragon said that, not me.
Yes.
So, they were like, we're going to do Fernando de Aragon here and give you some poison. She had been threatened to be poisoned several times. But what I'm trying to say about that is if Mary knew this, she always treated Elizabeth like, well, but like, don't try me. And I think the reason why is because she did have her suspicions that her mother had poisoned her own mother.
Yeah.
So it's a bit difficult. I think there was a lot of trauma there in the relationship between Elizabeth and Mary, which is totally normal.
Right.
That's a weird relationship to have,
And
you
I'm
know?
sure she was conflicted because she's like, well, she's my sister and I only have so many family members left.
Right, but she called her the bastard for years because yeah, it's true. That's what they called her. It's the reality. It's the
Yeah.
reality of the sources, not what we are inventing.
Right.
So what I'm saying is it must have been so difficult. So when the Wyatt Rebellion comes by and Mary thinks that she's going to be, dethroned, and Elizabeth is involved because not saying anything is involving yourself. Sorry to anyone who is Elizabeth I fan and hates what I'm saying right now, but this is true. What happens is that Mary has a fine gallery. We'll get back to parallel lives, so this is very interesting. Has a fine gallery that we know about, and there's a picture there of Elizabeth that she has taken out off. If she has a very fine gallery, it means the pictures there were very fine. Who was finer than Antonis More at the time?
True. Yeah, that's very true. So that portrait that is said to be Jane Dormer currently would
Yes.
make sense for it to be Elizabeth because do we know of any other portrait of Elizabeth that was by him?
Well, it's not just that another portrait of Elizabeth. It's the same size as a portrait by Titian of Philip that Mary of Hungary sent to Mary that is now in the Prado Museum. There was a
Hmm.
version that was sent to Mary of that picture by Titian of Philip. That's the same size as the portrait of Jane Dormer. That was also part of Fine Gallery. So with this Fine Gallery starts with the portrait of Titian sent by Mary of Hungary to Mary the First, and the portrait by Antonis More of Mary that now is now in the Prado, the version of Mary. Mary had a
Yeah.
version that is now in Boston. There were pictures added to this. I think a lot of the women that are not identified in the Antonis More's portrait in the Prado Museum, in the collections, they're not identified because they're women from the court of Philip and Mary in England. And these pictures were a lot of them in England.
Oh.
I think one of them could be Lavina Turnlick.
Ooh. Exciting stuff. And who better than you to look at these since you're so
Well,
familiar?
yes, yes. And the reason why I talk about this in relation to Lavina Turnlick and Mary is the result of that education that starts with Christine de Pizan, that humanist education for women and the empowerment through the examples of women from the past. Because Christine de Pizan mentions people like Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, the Queen of Sheba, Zenobia, Sappho of Lesbos too, which is like I've always had that thought about Mary. Was she, did she like Sappho of Lesbos or not? Minerva, Ceres, Dido, or Griselda. In the reign of Mary the First, Thomas Forster wrote a biography of Catherine of Aragon, where she called her the second Griselda. So they're doing the same thing in the reign of Mary the First. They're writing biographies of people like Catherine of Aragon, who just died, but comparing them to women from the past, just like Christine de Pizan does in The City of Ladies, or we know that Beatriz Galindo would have done in her works that very sadly are lost to us. But we
Mhm.
know that Beatriz Galindo wrote a commentary on Aristotle, which was the main guy from antiquity that Christina Pizan based her ideas on, too, Aristotle. So these are high cultivated women
Yeah.
that Mary the First doesn't just happen. That's what I'm saying. This is a tradition that comes from women like Christina Pizan, We've mentioned Catherine of Lancaster. We can mention Isabella I of Castile. She opens the door for her granddaughter. We'll have to think about that. It's her granddaughter. Don't you think this was brought up by Catherine of Aragon to Henry VIII
Yeah. I was just
so many
thinking that,
times?
like, how many times have you told us how well educated Catherine of Aragon was and how she passed that on to her daughter? This all
And
started, back in Spain when Catherine was young.
and remember, I've told you, and we talked about this the other day off the record, and now we can talk about it on the record about Kateryn Parr writings,
Yes.
especially Hymir for a sinful. What is it called? The mirror
Lamentations of a
of a
Sinner.
sinner. Yeah. Well, there is a 17th century source that attributes at least two writings to Catherine of Aragon, and one of them is Lamentazione Peccatoris in Latin. So if this were true, think about the time that Kateryn Parr is supposedly authoring this book. It's a time where Princess Mary, is translating Thomas Aquinas. Is the time that Elizabeth is also translating the future Elizabeth I. So my theory is that Kateryn Parr was translating into English a work written originally by Catherine of Aragon in Latin.
Which is a bomb. When Emma told me this, it was like my brain exploded because we always look at Catherine Parr as the first published queen, right? Like she was the first published queen of England, and
Maybe she's the first published translator queen.
yeah.
And is that any less? I don't think
No,
so.
no,
Well, the authorship would be someone else, but
yeah,
being the
yeah,
translator, I mean, I come from my dad's translator. I'm a translator. That's the way things get disseminated. It's an extremely important work, but the reality is that probably the author of that work, at least that one, was Catherine of Aragon.
yeah.
Catherine promotes translations too. You remember we've talked about the Chronicle of the Kings of England that she tells Rodrigo de Cuero, another guy from Madrid, to translate it into Spanish, and now the manuscript is again in Madrid in the Monasterio del Escorial in their library, which is another fabulous place. So it's all part of the same humanist culture. So this why we were talking about portraits of by Antonismo is because this is part of the culture. The
Yeah.
humanist culture is visual, is written, and it involves the women, and the women sometimes are super involved, starting in what we know the Tudors with Isabel of Castile. That's our, but Catherine of Lancaster, really, because the Tudors comes from the Lancasters and the Yorks, right?
Yeah.
But going back to Christine de Pizan, Henry VIII owned manuscripts, very important manuscripts of Christine de Pizan, illuminated. I'm sure these were inherited, obviously, by Henry VIII. These were the manuals and the books and the manuscripts that Catherine was showing Mary when she was a little girl, saying, "If you don't have a brother, you will have to be strong and be like Zenobia, or be like Dido, or be like whatever happens, your destiny is bigger than you."
Yeah.
And Mary, I feel pressure. Well, your grandmother would be very proud that you did, because all you can feel being the granddaughter of Isabel and Fernanda is the worst pressure in the world, right?
Imagine if Mary had a daughter. Who that daughter would have been amazing, so well
Who would have
educated.
she been married to? Oh, this opens a what if, right?
Yeah, now we're going into my off the record every Sunday episode of the what
Well,
ifs.
you guys could definitely use that because it's very good.
That's the thing about what ifs. You can go anywhere with them, but you got to be so careful. And I think that's what Amy and I have realized is you have to be so careful when doing what ifs to I don't make it linear in a way because otherwise you could have branches going in every direction and confuse yourselves during those episodes.
Yeah, and then obviously just say really outrageous things. You do have to apply critical thinking skills to what would have happened. So, I was in another podcast. I was invited to another podcast this week, and one of the things is a very, very young podcaster. So shout out to her, Talia. Um, and she was asking me any advice on someone who wants to study the Renaissance. And because she's such a, being 20 and starting a podcast, you have to be very brave.
Yeah.
She's so brave. Yeah. She's so brave and accomplished and doing this and I said, I want your audience to think that coming from someone who's not as youngish anymore, and with this world that you're giving, that is what is real, what is not, what AI and this and the other, and so many things are bombarded to you, right? I would say ground yourself in your critical thinking skills.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? Ground yourself in your critical thinking skills, because that will help you. AI, great, it's a tool.
Yeah.
Like Henry VIII.
Yes. Yeah. It is really, just a tool.
I said, I will repeat this till eternity, is AI is your assistant, but you are the CEO of your critical thinking skills.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
So I think Cristina Pizan and Beatriz Galindo would be clapping now. They would be like, magnificent, bravo.
They probably would. They would. They definitely would.
Yeah, at least Beatriz would understand me.
I mean, look, we have two women together doing a podcast talking about history. I think they'd be very proud of us. Yes.
That were amazing, that give names to cool neighborhoods in capital cities in Europe, or women like Cristina Pizan who created this. It's this idea that, women given the shot are very good at really building things. And that's why she calls it the city of ladies. And she makes that metaphor. I mean, talk about Utopia by Thomas More. Yeah, that's cute. But the city of ladies predates Thomas More. Okay. Okay, Thomas More. We love you, but okay.
But okay. A woman did it first.
I'm sure Thomas More had Cristina Pizan in the first the lecture he gave to his kids, to his girls. Margaret Roper and Mary Tudor had those manuscripts. I'm sure they all used them and looked at them, because Henry VII was, Hansi Henry knew what educated girls wanted. Remember what I told you, that when Catherine arrives and the Spanish entourage leaves after the wedding, she's very sad. What does he do? He puts a big diamond in her. Yeah, he gives her a big diamond and then takes her to the library in Richmond.
Wow.
He's like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. This is all yours.
That must have felt quite amazing for her.
Yes, I'm sure it did, because she had been brought up to want that marriage. She'd just been married, but she was homesick because she arrives with this huge entourage that then leaves, and then reality hits. She's only 16, she's not that mature at 16. I don't care what century it is.
Yeah.
And then you meet Arthur and he's like, he's even shorter than me, and I'm the shortest person in Spain. What is wrong? What about that other one?
Right, he's a tall drink of water.
What about this guy who took his shirt off in the dance floor?
Yeah. Speaking, I just rewatched the first episode of The Spanish Princess again the other night.
Oh.
I don't know. Let me tell you, like
the haircut, the Arthur haircut.
Yes. I think watching that, I just felt so bad for Catherine, and the respect that she had to leave such a warm climate and such a beautiful country, and she lands on the shores of England, and in the series it's like raining and it's damp and it's cold, and her ladies are like, is it always this cold?
This is overdone. Okay. let me explain you why. We do have the accounts of Isabel of Castile, and the girls spend a lot of time in the winter in very cold places in Spain, and they got coats and big thick coats, because sometimes they were in Burgos. Burgos is like England in Spain in winter. It's very cold. If you are in Laredo saying bye to Juana because she's leaving to marry Crybaby, and he's not Crybaby yet, but he's getting ready. He's getting there. If you're in Laredo, it's in the winter. There's also about, and in the summer it can rain in Laredo. So
Oh,
there were the court of Isabel and Fernando traveled all around the Iberian Peninsula all the time. The Iberian Peninsula has many different climates. So this idea that she lived in Granada her whole life is not true. First of
okay.
all, she was 7 when they were able to get into Granada. She did spend long, but that wasn't like she was born in Madrid. Madrid can get cold in the winter too. You ask them now, they've got some snow going on there.
Wow, I would not expect that. See, I know so little about Spain.
Yeah. So if you go to La Latina now, you're wearing a scarf, you know what I mean?
Yeah. A
I I
scarf.
mean, it's not Minnesota cold. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me going with the climate thing here, but it's definitely chilly.
Interesting. Well, that's good to know. And by the way,
Yeah.
for those listening right now in Minnesota, it is unseasonably warm. And I know Emma's like rolling her
I
eyes,
will
but
say not quite, but yes, for this area of the world in this time of year. But it's the January thaw. There's always like a little
what? It's usually like -20 and
no,
frigid right
no,
now.
no. There's always 2 weeks where Minnesota makes you think it's going to be the earliest spring ever, and then February hits and March, and you're like, oh,
All right,
all
whatever.
right, all
Whatever.
right.
I've lived here my whole life,
No, no, you lived in Fargo,
which is worse.
which is worse. Who would go and live somewhere worse?
I don't know what I was thinking and why I stayed there as long as
Not
I
about the
did.
weather. Clearly, not about the weather.
No, the funny thing is, I compare the weather to where I am now, which is like 2.5 hours away from Fargo, south. Okay. The
Right.
weather is even that 2.5 hours, it's like 170 miles, is quite different because Fargo is getting
Yes,
blizzards and
I think Fargo gets hit a lot more. Yeah. And even I'm an hour from you
yeah,
and it's a bit better. It's just, when you're in the extreme, even a couple hours is takes a
it's a big
extreme
difference.
is less extreme here in Minneapolis than it is where Rebecca is, and it's more
Yeah.
extreme in Fargo. And
Yeah.
then Canadians are like, you guys are cute.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everybody here thinks they're the toughest people on earth, but we have the Canadians up north, you know?
Yeah, they know winter.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Fargo. I'm glad I experienced 2 decades worth of winter in Fargo, and I'm glad I won't ever live there
Every
again.
time you say Fargo, all the listeners are thinking of a movie and TV show,
Oh,
right?
I thought you were gonna say hear my accent every time I
Why
say
did
it.
she have to leave Fargo? They're asking themselves.
Oh yeah. Well, we know the
Well,
truth.
you'll have to see the new season. No, I'm only kidding.
I've never watched the series ever.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't live in Fargo and watch that TV show. It's a very good TV show. It's a very good movie. The brothers are very talented
Yeah.
Minnesotans. So it's a cult kind of series and TV show.
They
I
just
know a lot of people in Spain love it.
yeah.
Another good reference that people always love because you live around the area is How I Met Your Mother and St. Cloud.
Yes. Yeah,
Because
of course. Marshall was from
Marshall
there.
is from, yeah. And when they go back to Thanksgiving or whatever to Minnesota, and everybody is just too tall for the shot,
Yeah.
except for Lily and Marshall. I
Yeah.
mean,
That is
most
you
stereotypical
guys,
things about Minnesotans are
seriously,
true.
that is the area of Minnesota that I am from. And Emma knows she's seen my brothers.
And I've seen Rebecca, and I feel tiny when I need to take a picture with Rebecca because she's so tall. And I'm not that short, right?
Right? Yeah. I feel like
Rebecca's
people
like, what do you mean you're not that short? You're tiny for
you're not no.
no.
Emma's pretty tall. She's
I'm
pretty tall.
average height.
I'm a giant.
Average height in Minnesota, which means tall everywhere
I
else.
know. I always say, I used to be 5'10". Now I'm like 5'9". I don't know. I'm getting older, so I guess I'm shrinking. Or
What are you
somebody
talking about? You used to wear heels or something. No.
I did, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what she needs, high heels.
I know. It's fun to wear heels. Just because I'm tall, why should I not be able to wear
I
heels?
think you're right. I mean, in another life, I will be a tall woman like you. I'm
It's
not, it's no hate. It's love. I
no,
wish I was 6 foot.
gosh.
Same reason I like it.
I wish I was 5'5", 5'6". I really
Really?
do. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't think you do.
I do. It would make dating a lot easier.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. No, because that's the last thing that we need to get rid of, that kind of taboo of like taller women dating shorter men. Why is it such a big deal?
Right.
Especially in Minnesota, it has to be the other way around because in general people are tall, but not everybody's super tall. So,
No.
you know,
And
I'm
all
like, shorter guys deserve chances too.
I
Some of them
think
are
I think
cute.
the shorter guys have more personality too. So I don't know that
Some of them are pretty cute. You're damn right.
that's right. How did we get to talking about this?
About dating, I don't know. What do I know about dating?
Oh my gosh, you guys. I love having Emma on the show, Dr. Emma and me. I just, you never know where it's going to go. I know that's why you guys enjoy the show. And I know you're so happy Dr. Emma's back. All the comments that I saw from the last episode, everybody was like, oh, thank God Emma's back because we couldn't tolerate Rebecca without you.
Yeah. How much do you pay these people? I'm slightly concerned about these people that comment that, because Dr. Emma has all types of reactions.
Yeah, yes. But I do, my favorite comments are when people say Thursday is their favorite day of the week because
Oh,
they anticipate our episodes.
I'm
But
gonna say that I enjoy them too. And I was listening to one of our episodes now before we started, and we're just funny. We're just funny people, having fun. And the second we let go of inhibitions in that sense, I think it just becomes so much fun that it is like being in a group of friends. And I know when people comment on that, they really mean that because I feel the same way. So it's not like, I'm not like suspicious about those comments ever because I feel the same way. It's kind of always what I've always wanted to do too, to find my tribe in my interests. So
yes,
isn't that cool?
it is cool. We've just been lucky enough to live in close proximity with one another too. That
Right now, it's not close proximity because you have to drive, and like I wish you could see the roads and how the ice is just like, yeah, and the vapor from the ice, and you're like, I don't know if I want to get in that road right
I
now, right?
know. I'm such an old lady now too. I hate driving when it's snowing or if there's any
I
icy.
don't think that's just a common human condition called awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. I do have to, I don't know why I want to share this, but I want to share this story because it was about a week ago and I was driving and it was about to start snowing, but I think the night before, like we had a melt and it was kind of icy and I was driving somewhere in the country and I'm trucking along and I'm doing my thing and all of a sudden I see this long patch of ice on the road. Like the whole road is
Oh,
covered in ice. And if you guys are unfamiliar with this, what happened in that moment was I let my foot off the gas because I knew the worst thing you can do is try to drive on it, accelerate
yeah.
through it. I let my foot off the gas. I gripped the steering wheel at 10
Yep.
and 2 and held my breath and just hope to God that I stayed on the road because if I didn't, I was going to end up in the ditch and snow and stuck. And that is
And that's
Minnesota.
how the first episode of Fargo, the new season, starts.
But I made it. It was like 30 feet of
I
ice. And I
made that.
just,
That's Minnesotan life for you in a nutshell in the winter.
please
I
move
made it
here.
through another day of driving in the streets and the roads of Minnesota.
It's so
It is a
different.
challenge. It is. It is. You have to be tough to be a Minnesotan,
Yeah.
or because you live in Minnesota, you become tough.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel the same way. I feel tougher than I was. I go to Spain in the summer and I go out at night in a tank top, and my friends are like, "Excuse me, are you not cold?" And I'm like, "I'm boiling." Between the perimenopause and the toughness of the Minnesotan life,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm boiling.
Yeah.
And it's like it's different. You just build different after you're in
Yeah.
Minnesota. The winter just slaps you a couple of times, and then you're like, okay, I have a newfound strength that I didn't know I
Yeah.
had.
This isn't so bad. This weather's not so bad, is what you
Oh,
tell yourself.
well, I think that's something that because I'm a nice person, but I'm also a bit of a hater sometimes. That's something I will never get used to. The downplaying the weather. I always have many fights with Minnesotans that are like, it's not that bad today. And I just go, what did you say? Because you have to honor it. You have to honor your good living through days that could kill other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And you're just powering through with your nice blonde hair. because you're just Minnesotan.
We're just surviving. We're just trying to survive every day.
Exactly. At this point, it's just like January to March. This is a lottery. Are we all going to make it through?
That's right.
For the winter? We don't know.
Survival. This is how I feel about our listeners right now. They are surviving through our banter about Minnesota weather.
Well, the other day you didn't want to talk about it, so today we had to bring it up.
That's right. That's right.
Well, what is it that, just to close up a little bit, because I know we're coming to the end. What is it that was there anything about this parallel lives that struck you the most about Christine and Beatriz?
I think basically it was that these women were so intelligent and they were innovators in their time. And it was way earlier than I would have ever expected women to be that way. And so I think that was probably my biggest eye-opener on this subject matter today.
But listen to this. Just like Plutarch, who didn't include women in his parallel lives, if I'm not mistaken. Now we're going to have someone tell me I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure no, because it's lives of the famous Greeks and Romans. And I think it's just the men. Christine does include women. That had been done by Boccaccio too, the famous women. But they're talking about women, famous women from antiquity. Mm. So women have been attached to power since power has been power. It's about, understanding that because the men were in charge, the women had to do it in different ways. Yeah. And that's a lot what I've talked about and what I try to talk about when I talk about Catherine of Aragon, even when I talk about Anne Boleyn. And more importantly, I think nowadays when we talk about Mary the First of England, who is a figure who has been constructed from hate and hate and hate and hate. Why? Because she was a woman.
Yeah.
Because of other things, but why is Henry VIII still someone praised and his daughter is someone who gets so much hate and called ugly and this and that?
Yep.
That's what really gets me when they call her ugly. Yeah. She wasn't ugly. She was just a woman with a human life. And when Antonis More painted her with the way she, her hair's up and the way she's 37 years old, and above all, when you look at other subjects of Antonis More, he just has an intensity in the look and in the gaze that in Mary is especially strong because she's the monarch, and that's what he's trying to convey. It's not a picture to look pretty for the 21st century male viewer. Sorry, guys. She's not there to be pretty for you. She's there to be powerful.
Yeah.
So go and see her in the Prado Museum and have some respect.
Dang. She just put you in your place.
Yeah. I know some women do it too, but it's mostly the men.
Yeah.
And I think we need to stop commenting on the beauty of female rulers if that's not the case. If it's not, we're not talking about beauty. Right. Let's talk about the beauty of the male monarchs. Let's talk about Henry VIII's double chin.
Yeah, exactly. It's a double standard for sure. The women are always
with a double standard for sure. Let's remember that Henry VIII at 17 is a very cute, tall, athletic guy. The Henry VIII at 35 in the Horenboom miniatures is a guy with a double chin and a complex.
Yeah.
So people change and beauty transforms, especially when it's attached to power. So power makes you look different. That's why Mary looks intense in the Antonis More portrait.
Power makes you look different. What a great way to end this episode.
There you go.
Well, Dr. Emma, thank you so much for joining me again for another fabulous episode of Dr. Emma and Me, and I will see you next Thursday.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys.
Dr. Emma and Me is a smart, spirited, and refreshingly candid podcast where history isn't just told, it's lived. Catch them every Thursday on the Tudors, Dynasty, and Beyond podcast. And if you love it, tell your friends. History's better when it's shared.